Now, let's talk about rent, or as it's known in the US, financial Russian roulette. One year you're sipping oat lattes, the next you're Googling how to build a bed out of cardboard. But in France, it's very, very different. And not because the wine and cheese are so much cheaper. Because, believe it or not, France has built a system that actually tries to keep people in their homes, not price them out of them. So today, I want to walk you through why your rent probably won't skyrocket in France, and why the bureaucracy that drives everyone mad when they move here is weirdly enough the very thing that ends up protecting you. I call it bureaucracy with benefits. So here's the big headline. Rent increases are capped. If your lease includes what's called a clause de révision du loyer, your rent can only go up once a year, and it's tied to inflation, not your landlord's mood. The government uses something called the IRL, the Rent Reference Index, which tracks inflation. So the latest figure, if we look at it, is around 2%. That means if you're paying €1,000 a month in rent, your annual increase might be €20. 20. Not 200, not 2,000, not 400, not 4,000. Just enough to remind you inflation actually exists, but not enough to ruin your year. That's what I mean by bureaucracy with benefits. Yes, you'll fill in 10 forms to get a lease and it'll be a pain, but that same paperwork stops your rent from turning into a horror movie. In the UK or the US, a landlord can wake up one morning and decide they're now an investment manager and raise your rent by 25%. In France, they'd hit the streets if that kind of thing was happening, because here, landlords can't just decide you're paying more. To raise rent beyond the index, they need to prove your current rent is way below market value now. And to do that, they must provide 3 comparable listings, submit a dossier, of course, and notify you months in advance. Then there's a back and forth paperwork, sometimes even mediation. Most landlords just look at the forms and go back to watering their geraniums or whatever. In other words, the effort rarely pays off. So rents in France rise very, very slowly and predictably, and most of the time, not at all. Now, if you're moving to Paris, Lyon or Bordeaux, there's a second layer of protection that you're going to enjoy. It's the encadrement des loyers. That's rent control. Each neighbourhood has a reference rent, a legal average per square metre. Your landlord can charge slightly above or below it. But if they overshoot, you can file a claim and they'll have to refund the difference. Yes, the same France that's invented 17 kinds of cheeses also invented rent refunds. There you go. It doesn't make the rent cheap, but it stops it from becoming unhinged. Now, let's talk about the catch to this, because there is one, and it hits international movers the hardest. Getting into the French market can feel like trying to get into a Michelin-starred restaurant without a reservation. Landlords want proof of stable French income, a guarantor, a glowing dossier. And if you're arriving from abroad, you often have none of those yet. That's where people panic. They see the list of required documents and think, well, it's impossible. Now, clearly it's not. It's just France doing France. And once you're in, once you've got that signed lease, the system really starts working for you and not against you. That's the beautiful paradox. The same red tape that makes access difficult is exactly what makes housing stable once you've got it. Most of the clients I work with don't actually want cheap, they want predictable. They want to know that their rent next year won't suddenly eat into their travel budget or their retirement plans. It's part of the reason for moving over. And France really does give you that. Leases renew automatically. Rent increases are transparent. Evictions are heavily regulated, especially during the winter period known as la trêve hivernale. Essentially, you can plan your life here. You can focus on integrating, exploring, building community instead of constantly renegotiating your survival. That's the quiet power of the French rental system. It trades speed for stability. And for anyone planning a serious relocation, I believe anyway, that trade is well worth making. I feel like people love to complain about French paperwork, and sure, it can feel medieval at times, but think of it like this. In the UK or the US, the system is designed to move money fast. In France, it's designed to protect people slowly. You'll sign the same form 3 times in triplicate, but That's because the system is built to hold everyone accountable, including landlords. So, yes, the bureaucracy can be painful, but it's bureaucracy with benefits. So I guess what I'm saying is if you find a flat you love, chances are you can keep loving it without it turning into a financial horror movie further down the road. Getting in might take a bit of patience, but once you're in, you're part of the system, a system that values long-term living over short-term profit. Yeah, let's be honest, that's a rare thing in today's world. And it's one of the quiet joys of making France your home. If you want to learn how to get in, how to build a dossier that actually convinces a French landlord, check out some of our other videos on this channel, because in France, the challenge isn't staying, it's just getting your foot in the door. Good luck, bonne chance.